guys? This is Joe from Steel Forging Fire. Thanks for joining me up here today. Before I get started, guys, hashtag 22 a day. Concerning our veterans, you have a place here. If you are in need of help, there is a number in the description if you're in despair and you need a number to call. We love you, vets. Don't fight this fight alone. So with that, guys, I'm bringing you guys here today to tell you about a sword fix, okay, that I discovered with couple swords back, and I've been using it with so many different things. I know everyone has their own way of kind of adjusting and fixing up different parts of their sword. If you're lucky enough to get a sword that has great fit and finish from the get-go, with time and with use, removing your sword from its saya, from its scabbard, there's going to be things that come loose, and as you cut and the vibrations of hitting the targets, it's going to basically loosen up the suba and a couple of the pieces and the all the surrounding structures around that's made with the sword will start loosening and start having some wiggle and waggle and all that. So it's normal for these things to happen. You should know, if you are a katana user and you collect them, or whatever the case is, or you use them, you collect them, you should know exactly how to service your own sword. So like I said, everyone has their own way of doing things. I just wanted to share my particular way of kind of doing things like tightening up koiguchi holes or subas or things like that to kind of give everything kind of a closer, tighter fit, so there's no play or anything like that. And it also makes it safer to be able to have a tighter fit of the sword into the saya. So I'm going to bring you that, and I'm also bringing you a VR to Samurai Byrd. Mr. Samurai Byrd, you had mentioned something about an Ito wrap that you received. I believe it was on a Ryan sword, that the kind of Manuki was kind of backwards and all that. But I also wanted to show you my preferred Ito wrap that I really like on a couple of my swords, and I'll get into that. But before I get into that, guys, you notice this? New York Yankees got to support my team. They just finished up a sweep of the Boston Red Sox. Very sorry, Donnie. I know that hurts. But if there's any consolation, they may be playing Toronto and lose 3 in a row. So, we'll see what happens with that. So my Toronto fans, I love you, but I don't like you. To my Toronto fans that I know on YouTube, I love you, but honestly, I don't like you right now because we got to get past you guys. So I'm sure I'm going to get a slew of comments about that. But anyway, so it is playoff time in baseball, guys, and that's my time. So, and also MTV, okay, when music television was actually good, aka the 80s. So there you go. So other than that, guys, this is my particular go-to item that I have been using, and I've been getting some success with. You may not agree with it, but it really does freaking work. Okay, this is very typical, very, easy to get, available everywhere, Gorilla Glue. Okay, now it's got to be the original Gorilla Glue. It can't be like that clear stuff, because that doesn't expand as much as the Gorilla Glue. So now what I did first with this Gorilla Glue, now if you notice this sword in back of me, this is a sword from Swords of Northshire. Okay, clearly one of my favorite swords. I did a live, if you watch my channel, and I actually serviced the Suba, which I had some play in it. When I first received this particular sword, everything was fine with it. It was tight out of the box, but naturally, like I said, when you start using it and you start hitting targets, things are going to start to kind of move and wiggle, with the vibrations, that travel all up and down the sword. Other than that, I mean, it's perfectly straight. It's fine. The blade is great. It's held up to everything. I really do love what Swords of Northshire did with this 1095 steel differentially hardened blade. It's great. The Ito is very tight. I actually sprayed some lacquer on it, some clear lacquer on the Ito, and you can see how it's lustering. It's a little shinier and all that, and the Ito just became completely solidified. The Suba, when I presented it on the live, the Suba was kind of wiggling from side to side, and again, extremely normal for that kind of thing to happen with use on these swords. Okay, so what I did was I took the sword apart. I'm not going to do it right now. I removed the Suba, and what I did was there's a Nakago hole, or the cutout of the Nakago, or the tang that goes through the Suba, okay, which you can see obviously it angled right here, okay, where the sword would angle in, okay? It's kind of like this type of shape, okay? So what I did was I took the Gorilla Glue and I placed it pretty much all around, okay, the cargo, okay? And what Gorilla Glue does is when it dries, which if you guys have ever used Gorilla Glue, you know what the hell I'm talking about. When Gorilla Glue dries, it hardens, obviously very tough. It's a very hard plastic. It hardens into like a very hard, tough plastic for the most part. And what it does is it also expands. So you just need just a little bit around the rim of the Nakago hole. It'll expand a little bit. And what's going to happen is, as it expands and then you put it back onto the tang, it's going to kind of just close up the hole and fit a lot tighter. Now it's absolutely no movement. It is solid as a rock, okay? Vibrations hitting, okay, hitting targets. It's just completely solid. I've done this with a couple of swords, right, at this point, and I've been pretty successful in terms of trying to eliminate any of the wiggle from side to side or up and down or anything like that. Okay, as long as you have your Mukugi pegs in, everything is nice and tight all around it, you know, hit it, get it into place, get it nice and tight. It actually even made the habaki a little tighter because it's kind of pushing against the habaki as much. So it was a really great fix, okay, in terms of getting the Suba a little bit tighter, okay, to the point where you eliminate any of that movement that, me personally, it just annoys the shit out of me. I know a lot of people don't mind it. They like that clang sound, which is fine. I respect that. Me personally, I like to have everything on the sword very tight and no movement. Hanwei Raptor. I've showed this sword on my channel many times. I absolutely love this sword. I love how it handles. I love so many things about it. It's a great Hanwei product, a great Hanwei product line, which is Raptor. And this is a Unokubi Zakuri, okay, with a very long ska or a long handle. It's about a 13-inch ska or handle. So what happened with this was, when I first got it, it had a pretty good fit of the habaki into the saya. Again, hate to repeat myself. As with use, okay, removing it, replacing, placing it back into the saya, removing it from the saya, with use, it started getting loose, and that's perfectly normal. So, I mean, it got loose to the point where it kind of just completely fell out, and it's not safe. It's just, you want to have it a nice, solid, locking fit, and you don't want to have it, you know, struggle too much to get it out of the saya, because you want to be able to, you know, have it in your obi and be able to remove your saya, your sword, without too much of a problem. Really, you just have to kind of lift it with your thumb, and it should pop out, and then you can remove it the rest of the way. So I can't show you how, I didn't shoot it before, but basically when I turned this thing upside down, it was kind of just falling right out. So what I did was, first let me show you exactly how it is now. I wish I had high ceilings, guys. If I had high ceilings, I'd be freaking cutting and swinging all day long, but I don't. So basically, it doesn't fall out, okay? Even with a little bit of force, it's not falling out. It's perfectly tight, okay? So now with a little bit of a thumb action here, it pops out, removes, okay? So now you can see some pictures on screen. What I did was I laced a couple, so I laced the inside rim of the Koiguchi hole, the fish mouth, it's also called, with the Gorilla Glue. Now you have to watch not to place it onto point end of it, because you don't want to have a build up there and have the sword cut into that all the time, which, I mean, if it does, it'll kind of make a spot, but you don't want it to be kind of rubbing up against the ha. So you want to try to keep it around the mune, or the spine of the opening in the saya, okay? Now what I did was, what happened with this particular Gorilla Glue bottle, you know, like that little pin that's in there that kind of just holds it in, that leaves the hole empty. So the pin kind of got stuck in there. So I kind of removed the whole thing, and rather than pouring it on, because it comes out really, when it's exposed to room temperature, it kind of it pours out very quickly. So what I did was I took some of this, I removed this cap. I took like this Chinese chopstick, and I kind of just dabbed it in, but it came out like in a big glob. So I kind of just put that glob around, okay, the opening of the saya. And what happened was, it was too much of a glob. And what happened when it did dry up, I found myself kind of trying to cut a couple of pieces out, but it's just, you live and learn. You see what basically works, that doesn't work. But what you want to try to do is really put a light, thin film around the spots, around the angle of the Mune, away from the point of the where the sword would go in, or the how, the sharp point. And what's going to happen is a thin layer is going to expand, and it's going to hold these habaki in place. So now you notice as I put this in, after I did some cutting out of the glue, hardened glue that was too thick and it wasn't going in at all. You notice how it goes in, locks into place, doesn't come out. Okay, perfectly tight. Still a little bit of a rattle, but not as much actually. It fits a lot better. It has less of a rattle because the habaki fits better. And if you need to remove it, you remove it. Okay, replace it the rest of the way, and it's perfectly fine. So it's perfect fit and mission accomplished. Okay, so the Gorilla Glue, once again, okay, what it does is it just closes up the holes and gets everything to fit a lot tighter. So it will actually work if you have a sword that's too loose inside the saya. Put some Gorilla Glue around the rim, let it dry up overnight. Obviously, let it dry up for a full 24 hours. You don't want to put it in because you'll never get it out. Full up 24 hours, let it dry. If you have too much residue around the saya, just take a pocket knife. For my knife people here, what am I carrying, guys? So I have a Bantam Buck, okay, 286. Love this knife, okay? This is my good old Buck, carrying it every day. You take the knife and basically just cut around some of the glue. It's very hard, it's very easy to cut. Stay solid, but it's also very easy to cut with a sharp edge. And just carve a little bit of more of a space until you know it kind of fits in place and it's not moving. So it's kind of trial and error, but definitely do not put a glob of it like I did. A thin film will probably be fine. And it'll probably be enough where you don't really have to cut some out. So once again, the Gorilla Glue kind of saved the day for me, and it's a really good option as a fix to tighten up even the seppas. Or I haven't used it on a habaki yet. I'm kind of afraid to, but I think I may try it one day and use it on the inside of a habaki to see if it fits onto the sword a little bit better. But I wouldn't recommend that right away, but more for the Suba and the seppas, anything that you need to get a tighter fit around the Kago. And now, as I discovered, a much tighter fit of the Koiguchi hole, okay, to fit the habaki in place and won't move, and it'll probably have a little bit of less rattle. So there's my fix with the Gorilla Glue, guys. So now the VR that I wanted to make up for Samurai Byrd. And if you guys are not subscribed to Samurai Byrd, please, all my sword friends, take a look at him. He's got under 100 subs. We definitely have to get this guy over 100. I don't know why he's not over 100 yet. He's a great all-around guy. He's a really good sword guy. He has some beautiful pieces. He has a great katana park obstacle course that he cuts in. I have mentioned him on my channel many times, and I will continue to until I see his numbers really climbing into respectfully what he should be getting. So take out Samurai Byrd. I'll leave a link to his channel in my description. Okay, so Samurai Byrd mentioned on one of his swords in one of his last videos that he noticed the Minuki was kind of in the wrong place. Okay, and the way, well, listen, the Minuki is the ornament on the saya. Okay, now it's not just an ornament to make it look pretty. There is a purpose for the Minuki in traditional Japan. Okay, in terms of how the sword came into creation. Everything that's on the katana is a problem that was solved by Japanese samurai and Japanese samurai swordsmiths, 1,000 years ago. So everything is a solution. What you're seeing, it looks pretty, it looks great, but it's really, everything was kind of a solution to a problem, okay? The Minuki is there, it's made there for a reason, okay? It's there to hold the ito in place. There's a reason for the hamon, okay, even though the hamon looks pretty, there is a reason for the hamon. It wasn't there for aesthetics or anything. There is a reason behind it. I may make a video one day to show you the origins of what all the pieces of the sword mean and what meaning and what problems they had to solve. And that is a solution of the problem solving that they did 1,000 years ago. So thank you to all our Japanese, 1,000 years ago for giving what we have today. So the Minuki is supposed to be, if you're holding the sword the right way, with obviously the point facing your opponent or your target, okay? You want to basically palm it. You never want to choke it up. You want to palm it right here, hold it in place, knuckles always in front of you, okay? No matter how you cut from the side or whatever it is, your knuckles are always facing in the right place, okay? Never want to choke it up here, or you want to keep it, you know, pretty much right here. Now, everyone has a different way of doing it. It doesn't matter, okay? There are traditional ways. This is how I do it. This is a little bit more traditional, I think. You guys are probably going to correct me on it in the comments, but this is basically how I was taught to kind of hold the sword. Now, if you would hold it that way, the manuki stays on your palm. His manuki was kind of here, where your index fingers are basically resting. So that, I would say, would make it extremely uncomfortable. So the manuki was definitely in the wrong spot on one of his swords. The manuki has to stay on your palm here and on your palm here. So it should be on your palm. Now, this particular wrap, okay, as you can see in the pictures there, and I know I'm going to butcher the name, but it's called a Sumami Maki. That is a traditional Ito wrap, okay, where you have the assortment of diamonds going all the way down, the manuki on your palms, on each side of, on each hand, and that is your most popular traditional wrap, is a Sumami Maki, okay? What I prefer personally, and you could even see it on this Unikubizukuri Raptor, okay, is something called the Katate Maki, okay, which is also called a battle wrap. Katate Maki, battle wrap, okay, which is mostly called that way, where you have the Ito, the manuki were actually really supposed to be kind of in the middle. So now if you notice basically the pictures here, and you notice the my Hirozukuri sword, this is a Katate Maki, or a battle wrap. You notice how the manuki is really supposed to be right in the center of the handle, or the ska, and you have no manuki on each side, and you're able to fit your palms around and keep the manuki right in the middle, okay? This is kind of that execution, but it's not, okay? So it's, I guess it's Raptor's rendition, but the manuki is supposed to be right in the middle. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You guys can correct me, but I know the manuki on a battle wrap or Katate Maki is supposed to be in the middle. But regardless, when you palm this type of battle wrap, you don't have the manuki basically on your palm and on your, obviously not on your index fingers, okay? Here, it's not on your palm, okay? And you hold it in place. I find that Katate Maki with a battle wrap is so much more comfortable to hold, okay? It feels more stable in your hand. You feel like you have more meat of your hand onto the, holding the ska without having the manuki basically on your palm. I don't mind it as much with the traditional wrap, the Sumami Maki, but I prefer the battle wrap, okay? Now, when you hold it in place, you hold it the way it has to be, it really feels, you feel like you have more of your grip around the sword, okay, without breaking anything. Feels a lot better in your hand, okay? So that is the, if you have an option of basically getting a sword that has this type of Katate Maki or battle wrap, it is so much more preferred, and you're gonna feel a lot better holding it in your hand and feeling a lot more of a better grip, okay, onto the ska, okay, without the manuki on your palms, okay? See, the manuki's right in the middle, nothing is on my palm here, nothing is on my palm here. I just have so much more control, okay, of the sword, okay, in my hands, okay? So if you have the option, try it. Definitely try it for my sword guys. If you have never tried a Katate Maki type of grip before, you should definitely give it a shot. It's definitely a lot more of a secure grip in your hands. It just feels overly, overall more comfortable, and it looks better. I gotta tell you, I really love the look of the battle wrap on the sword. So that's a VR to my friend Samurai Bird. Promise I wanted to show you, okay, the Katate Maki. You haven't had a sword like that yet, with that type of wrap, but I definitely recommend it to all my sword guys, okay? So now what I wanted to show you one more time, guys, was this Hanrei Raptor Unikubizukuri, okay? I want to show you the sharpness of this because I did some sharpening of it before probably a couple months back. Very sharp. Wasn't this sharp out of the box. Okay, beautifully handling sword. Okay, this sword is going to be going on a tour. Okay, a tour of the States. I'm sending the sword to my buddy, my sword buddy. Okay, Eric Hussein. We had spoken, and I had said to him I wanted him to try because he hasn't tried a Unikubi from Hanwei. So I had told him I wanted to send this to him because I am very fond of this sword in terms of the handling and everything about it. It is really great. I mean, he may end up hating it. I don't know, but we shall see. But I love the the longer length of the ska or the handle. It just makes it such a balanced sword in the hands. I love the way the grip is. I love everything about it. And I'm curious to see basically what his take on it is. Some people call it a little nose tip heavy, but I find with the longer grip, I just have a lot more balance, keeping my hands in a certain spot, okay, to control the tip really, really well. Okay, so this sword is going to go on a little tour. It's going to go to Eric Hussein, and it may actually end up going to California to Eric 117, okay, my other big sword buddy, okay, out in on the West Coast there. So it may actually go on a little bit of a tour, and it may end up going someplace after that. I don't know, but I may not get it back in one piece after that with a third guy cutting with it. So this sword is going to Eric. I know he's going to put his own sharp edge on it. So however sharp it is now, I am sure he's going to want it a lot sharper. So go nuts, Eric. You know, sharpen it up, put it the way you need it. But I did, like I said, Eric, I did basically tighten up the fit of the habaki, okay, in here, okay. It's fitting really, really well. It's not going to accidentally fall on the floor on you, which I didn't want to send it to you like that. Look for his channel. Subscribe to him if you're not. An amazing, amazing cutter. One of the best cutters on the internet. You have to check him out. I'll leave his link there as well as Eric 117. Two amazing cutters. They're coming to Blade Talk very soon. We're going to be shooting that, and that's going to be aired within the next couple of weeks or sooner. So look out for that for Blade Talk with Scab and Joe on my channel. So this is going to go to you, Eric. My friend, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, and I would love to hear your take on the dynamics of it, how it feels in your hand, how it feels when you cut, how easy is it to stop and return, and everything, you know, that we all want to know about our swords, okay? So that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching. Sit around through all this. Remember, Gorilla Glue, great fix, okay, to tighten up and fix some, you know, common problems on swords. And don't forget about the Katate Maki wrap, the battle wrap. It's a really wonderful, wonderful wrap on a sword, okay, that feels so much more comfortable in the hands. So this was all to my sword guys, to my knife guys. I hope this was interesting to you, okay? I love all of you. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Until the next sword or knife video, I will see you then. Have a good one, guys. Ciao.